Today, I have an absolutely amazing conversation to have with you. We're talking all things community. If you've been watching me for the last couple of weeks, you would know how passionate I am about community. Why? Because I don't actually believe that any human being was supposed to grow in isolation. So I'm just going to give it some time, allow everybody to join. But I'm really excited for today's conversation. I'm really excited. And do forgive me if I'm looking um, this side. I'm just looking at my notes to make sure that I cover all my points. And I'm also looking at your comments. So please join, tell a friend, to tell a friend, to tell a friend, especially if they're a healthcare professional and they want to reach higher heights and they want to enter into new conversation. If they're tired of just being a normal uh, 9 to 5er, and they want to push the boundaries of their career. We believe sincerely that we are raising the next generation of healthcare leaders. That's whether you've been in the industry for one day or you've been in the industry for 10 years or you've been in the industry for 1 week. We believe sincerely in raising the next generation of healthcare leaders. So I'm really excited for today's conversation. Again, my name is Genevieve. I am a pharmacist by profession. I have been so for about 10 years now. In fact, not about 10 years. It's about 10 years, around now, actually, July. Next month will be my 10 years as a fully qualified pharmacist. I have been a pharmacist, well, I've been in pharmacy since I was 16. That's when I got my first work experience. So I've been in pharmacy for a long, long time. Now, let's get into it. So, the power of community, that's what I want to speak about today, because again, why did we start the Guild community? I kind of want to take you down that journey. So, can you actually think of a single great leader in history who succeeded completely alone? That's a question that I'm going to pose to you. That's a question that I'm going to pose to you. And please, again, let me know who's online. Talk to me. Let me know who's watching me, where you're watching from. If you're a healthcare professional, if you're not, it's completely fine because you can use the principles that I'm sharing anywhere. So please do let me know if you or where you're watching from, and we'll take it from there. So the question again was, can you think of a single great leader in history who succeeded completely alone? I personally cannot. You'll actually struggle to find one. And what does that demonstrate? What does that show you? That no great leader succeeds alone. And we're talking a lot about leadership in the sphere or the confines of the Guild community. We believe so much in leadership because leadership changes the world. And if we want to be policy makers and change makers in our industry, it means for us to be leaders. And so when I come here and I speak, this is leadership training. I've gone on a long journey throughout my career, in my personal life, and I've come to realize or conclude that the world needs more leaders. So no great leader actually, good evening, Evelyn. No great leader actually succeeds alone. They need a team. That's the beauty of community. And in fact, I believe that the leaders that prioritize their community, the leaders that empower those around them to succeed, so am I, Evan. The leaders that empower their the people around them to succeed and also raise them as leaders, actually a successful leader. So I was kind of thinking about this topic and I was thinking about the MDT. Who knows the famous MDT, right? The multi. I'm not quite sure what happened there, but I'm back. I'm back. Don't worry, don't panic. Just switched off. I'm really not sure what happened. But I want to take us to the principle called the MDT because if you're a healthcare professional, you will know this term very, very well. It's what we call the multidisciplinary team. And it's such a huge principle in the healthcare sphere because within that alone, understanding that principle makes you successful when it comes to treatment of a patient. Not one healthcare professional is enough to fully treat a patient. Remember that patient care is pretty holistic. So healthcare, of course, is one of the best principles of community. Why? Because before, years and years and years ago, medicine was a lot more paternalistic. So it was almost like the doctor knows best, the doctor tells you what to do, and you do what the doctor tells you what to do. It was almost like the doctor makes the decision and everyone follows. So over the years, healthcare actually developed into what we now know as the multidisciplinary team model. And you'd wonder why. And that's simply because one person actually doesn't have all the answers. So even if you're a doctor, especially for example, if you're a GP, general practitioner, you might know a lot about, you might know general medicine, you might know a range of conditions, but there's somebody who has specifically decided to study the renal function of the body. So they're renal specialist, somebody who has decided to go into cardiology and be an expert in the heart. And so when we began to take this new approach, you actually found that patient care was more successful because you actually were now working with people who had different types of expertise. And one principle that I always hold by is that you don't actually know everything, but you can know everything if you can join hands with everyone, if that makes sense. So, for example, I'm a pharmacist, which means I'm an expert in medication, but I am not a doctor to perhaps understand the workings of the human body to a certain degree. So in most cases, I wouldn't necessarily be diagnosing conditions, but what I would be able to be an expert of would be the medication that has been prescribed by the doctor. Even though I am a prescriber, even then I have to stick to my area of competency, showing that I don't actually know everything. And that's nothing to feel bad about. That's actually something to be happy about, because you also have a particular specialty that you can use to strengthen another healthcare practitioner's practice. So one person doesn't have all the answers, right? A patient actually might need a doctor, they might need a pharmacist, they might need a nurse, they might need a physiotherapist, they might need a psychologist, they might need a social worker. So there are different perspectives that actually create better outcomes for the patient. And I'm just using the MDT. Thank you so much, Olivia. I'm just using the MDT as a good example, especially because most of us on this live are healthcare professionals, as a good example of the power of community. The patient actually has better health outcomes when we're able to work together. And usually, a lot of the time when there is a lot of the time when there are issues in patient care is because there's been a huge breakdown in communication between healthcare professionals. Perhaps a patient has been in hospital for, I don't know, 4 weeks with a particular condition, but the GP didn't receive their discharge letter, and therefore they're still prescribing them medications that actually in hospital was stopped. And then the patient starts to have poor health outcomes because that medication actually wasn't stopped. And a lot of patients don't actually know. I mean, if you've ever been discharged from hospital, you get a wealth of information, right? Even me as a healthcare professional, when I was discharged from hospital not long ago, there was so much information coming at me that it was almost like, okay, I definitely had to keep going back to look at my discharge letter. And that's even me as a healthcare professional, much less to say somebody who has no clue about their medication or their well-being or their health in general. So if there's a communication breakdown between different healthcare professionals, you see that the patient has poorer health outcomes. So that's what shows you the beauty and the impact of having a ability. I'm really not sure why my phone keeps cutting, but we'll keep going because this conversation is really important. So different perspectives actually create better outcomes. And that's what we want to see in the field of healthcare. That's what we want to see in our industry. We want to see our industry evolving and developing and solutions being provided. But how do we do this? I, for one, cannot do that by myself. I don't know everything. But one thing that I do know is that I have another colleague, I have another a friend in the industry that knows something that I don't. And if we are able to join hands and band together, we will find that we can produce a lot more. I mean, if healthcare requires an MDT to care for just one patient, why do we think that we can build our lives alone? We actually need each other to succeed. So even if I think of, for example, becoming a prescriber, I actually had to become a prescriber by having what we call a DPP, a designated prescribing practitioner. I couldn't even attain that qualification, even though I was the one studying, I was the one doing the clinical work. I still had to sit beside somebody who's gone before me and done it before to be able to get my qualification. So again, our lives were actually designed to be in unity with another person. So I think when we're able to develop that, because a lot of us can also isolate ourselves, we literally go to work, we do our jobs, we're good at our jobs, and we literally leave, and then that's it for the rest of the evening. And I know, obviously, with the NHS especially, it's very stressful environment. But again, if we're looking at making impact in our industry, we are going to have to be very intentional about not being isolated, but actually working in unity with each other. So people always say, when I become successful, I will become a leader. And remember in the first off-label talks that we had, I did say that any, you don't even need followers to be a leader. A leader is a state. It's not a job title. It's not that I've been in the industry for 10 years, 20 years, that I now become a leader. You can be a leader from day one, because guess what? Leadership is actually developed through relationship. In fact, my mentor taught me, like last week or 2 weeks ago, that leadership is actually the skill and the ability to put people, or yeah, it's the skill of putting people with different skills together. So as a leader, I should be able to identify people with different traits in my community and bring them together for the betterment of something, of maybe if we're doing a project, or we are saying that we're going to make sure that people from low socioeconomic backgrounds, young people from low socioeconomic backgrounds, are going to get into healthcare, and they're not going to be afraid to get into healthcare. They're going to be bold and confident to get into healthcare because of our support. If I'm saying that that's something that we're trying to achieve, I should be able to know that, okay, Mrs. X here is really good at administration. Mr. Y here is really good at speaking. Mr. X here is really good at putting presentations together. A leader is somebody who's able to identify all these skills and put it together. So in reality, leadership is actually developed through relationships. It's not so leadership is not even like dictatorship. A lot of people also think that, okay, once I've become a leader, it's almost like I'm going to be telling people what to do. No, the beautiful thing about leadership is knowing how to work everybody's skill sets together and basically presenting or projecting a beautiful harmony. So community actually teaches you communication, first of all, because again, communication in healthcare is one of, again, you must know, it's one of the key principles that we hold, right? Communication, whether it's verbal, whether it's written, however way it is, it's so critical and important, because literally you can save a life or you can harm a life by simply not communicating the way you're supposed to. Hi, Benny. Thank you for joining. So you can literally save a life or you can harm a life by not communicating properly. So community teaches you communication, being around different characters. Some people are really shy. Some people are really bold. Some people are coming from such varied backgrounds to um, to receive information. So you're going to have to be skilled enough as a leader to know how to speak to people from all different walks of life. That's what community can teach you. And then community also helps you with conflict resolution, right? Because you've got people, again, I mentioned, from different backgrounds. You're going to come across situations that will cause conflict. How, as a leader, are you able to identify people's tendencies and know how to work them in order to resolve conflict? These are skills that are so critical. These are skills that are so important, and in community is the best way to learn this. And I always say the community that I'm in personally, I always say that it's my training ground for world leadership, for global leadership, because I meet so many different people on a daily basis, and literally, it's just you just meet all different types of characters, and it just gives you that training to be able to resolve conflict, to be able to solve matters quickly. So that if I identify these things in practice, right, if I identify this, whether it's in my job, whether it's in my business, whether it's in a leadership position, I will know what to do with it. So community is so key for giving us those skills. Yeah, that's what I want us to sort of gather. So we've learned already that it's good for communication. Community is good for communication. It's good for, it's also good for conflict resolution. Now, the third one, let me just, oops, my thing is paused. Hi, good evening, Andrea. Good evening. The third one is that community is good for empathy, right? Empathy is one of the most critical things in healthcare, but it's also one of the most critical things in being a leader because it's your ability to understand, share, and experience the feelings and perspectives of another. Again, you might have your own way of dealing with things. You might have your own way of living your life. You might have how you feel, but not everybody shares those opinions. Your ability to be empathetic actually strengthens your leadership skills. And you learn that in community because guess what? Somebody's going to go through something in your community. Somebody's going to experience something in your community. And that's just the easiest and quickest way to learn how to be empathetic, to learn how to have an open mind, to learn how to embrace and accept people coming from all walks of life. And it allows you to connect with their emotions as if it was your own, essentially, just so that you can be sensitive and you can be skilled. Again, leadership is skill, right? It's skill. And I'm giving you nuggets here. So if you want, get your notepad and jot these things down. But leadership is skill. It's not sometimes, most times, it's not even intelligence. It's not even like that you know how to do something, but you know how to use those who have the things that you need. And I'm not talking about using as in a negative sense, but it's just how to enhance people's skill sets and bring them together. But you need to learn these skills. Leadership, community also teaches you how to be accountable and how to influence. That's, oh my gosh, influence is like a huge thing. But how to be accountable. Who checks you? Who who is there for you to hold yourself accountable to? If you said that you're going to do something, who's going to be the person to make sure that you do that? If you say that you're going to raise the next generation of healthcare leaders, who's checking me? Who's checking those who work with me in the guild, right? Who's checking us? Who who are the people checking us? It's in my community that I can be accountable. I can have one of my colleagues say, okay, we said we were going to do X. Have we done it? By what time are we going to do it? Guess what this does? This builds a strength inside of you. This makes you a more integral person. It makes you a more whole person. You will be able to get through a lot more by having community who can hold you accountable. And then influence, your ability to help change somebody's mind. So that's why I speak emphatically on lives like this. On a normal day, I would probably be very uncomfortable to do this, but I come here and I start to change your mind and make you know that you are a leader. You can be a leader. You don't have to be confined to the 8 to 8, 12-hour shift that you're doing as a healthcare professional, but you can actually take the bull by its horns and you can make genuine change and make a difference in your community. So these are the things that you don't actually learn in isolation, you learn in a community. And there's one principle, and maybe you've heard of it before, but it's called iron sharpens iron, because guess what? Who sharpens you? I know that I can be a lot more productive because I have, for example, an Eben who is also a pharmacist, and she can say to me, okay, you've been in this position for X amount of years. How are you stretching yourself? How are you upskilling? How are you? We both decided one day that we were tired of just being in community pharmacy. We saw that there wasn't that much opportunity for growth there for us personally, because again, everybody's different. And we decided to go to university together, and we decided to go and get our prescribing qualification, because what could we could do a lot more with that. We challenged each other in as much as we were both working full-time jobs. We just decided that we are going to do more. We're going to get better because we know that we have other people that we want to raise, but we we would be more valuable and have more to say if we upskilled. So who is the person that challenges you? Who stretches you? Who tells you the truth? Who holds you accountable, like we mentioned before, is having a community. So your community determines your ceiling, and And that is basically the conversations around you. I don't know if you've ever heard about this terminology of your network is your net worth. Most times, yeah, a high percentage of times, if you're around millionaires and billionaires constantly, daily, or just having conversations with those people, you are definitely going to be a millionaire or billionaire because your environment determines your ceilings. And I'm so blessed again to have a community who keeps pushing for my success, keeps pushing for my prosperity. And guess what? There's a chain reaction because I've also caught that passion to do that for other people as well. So that's why, again, I'm on this live, I'm speaking and I'm inviting you to join the guild community because we're a kind of people who are passionate about making you hit the height of, we don't even have a ceiling. Like the sky is our limit. That's what we believe in. That's what we're pushing. But if everyone around you is growing, if everyone around you is learning, if everyone around you is building, guess what you're gonna do? The guild, yes, blessing, you are our chief guild person, you will naturally rise. But again, in isolation, because I remember one of my mentor was speaking about being in the gym, right? Um, and he was talking about being in the gym and on your own, you will just stop when you get tired, right? You will just stop. You have like a mental tiredness. It's not even a physical tiredness, but you can just be tired and you're like, I can't be bothered. You're not going to push yourself. But if you're with a personal trainer, if you're with your friends in the gym, they're going to push you to go and hit that personal best or just stretch yourself even more, lift up that extra weight. And what does that do? It keeps you stirred up. It keeps you progressive. It keeps you successful. So that's why it's so important to have community. Community sets the standard around you and the expectations around you. So you need to be amongst other people. But I will say, putting a caveat to that, to people who are actually open-minded, who are pushing for your success, who want you to do well. And that's what the guild community is. And yes, every week I tell you, I am selling the guild community. I am not afraid to do that. So that's why the guild exists, right? This is where I bring it home, to be honest. You know, the guild wasn't built because we needed another networking group. It's not that. It's not about meeting up with other healthcare professionals, even though we will do that and we do that and it's brilliant and it's beautiful. But it was built because we simply recognize that talented people often struggle alone. So you can have the best idea ever, you can have amazing skills, but guess what will help it come to reality is by plugging into a community, is by plugging into like-minded people that can tell you that you can do it. Because alone, you may just stop at a particular point, but when you're with a community, they'll be able to push you into actually actualizing that thing. So at the guilds, we believe in mentorship. We believe not that you don't need to make certain mistakes, but you can actually work with people who have gone ahead of you, and they are actually able to help you get far further than even they have. We believe in leadership. You know me, I raising the next generation of leaders. That's what we believe in. The guild community is about opportunity. We always want to put everybody's best foot forward. So what we do is that we do our best to work with organizations, work with individuals, work to help people get into opportunities, whether that's our students getting into work experience, whether that's our early stage healthcare professionals stepping into further developing their skills or getting into better paid opportunities. We do that. If that's healthcare professionals that have been in the profession for ages, we help them to either upskill or to also go and mentor the next generation. So we're a people of opportunity. The guild is very much, hi, Stephanie. The guild is so much about exposure and encouragement. We want to expose ourselves. We don't just want to be confined to our jobs and think that that's enough. No, we're trying to challenge ourselves to be change makers, policy makers. We see the political climate, and I'm not going to talk about politics too tough, but we see that we're in rocky times. We see the political climate is quite rocky at the moment. But who are going to be who will the people, who will be the, oh goodness, tongue twister, who will be the people who are just going to stand up and they're just going to decide to band together and change the trajectory of the healthcare profession? Who are going to be those people? Who are the people that are going to challenge themselves and work together to see this happen? So we encourage ourselves here. We tell each other that you can be and do more. You can be a leader. It doesn't matter about your educational background. It doesn't matter about your economic background. It doesn't matter about where you're coming from, but it matters that you are part of the guild community, right? You got that right. So again, in reflection, Think about who has been the biggest impact on your journey. Did you get to where you are now alone in silos? Most likely, no, not. Even if you thought you were, there's somebody working in the background to help you do what you were doing. What community helped shape you? And I sure hope it's the Guild. What kind of community are you even building around yourself? Are you actually going to step up and be a community builder? Are you actually going to step up and be somebody who is building community? Who maybe you're a nurse and you're just thinking, I want to change the trajectory of nurses in the UK. I'm going to build a platform for nurses and I'm going to be the one who is going to lead other nurses to have solutions. Yes, that can be you. That can be you. But what do you need to do? You need to believe. You need to be around like-minded people. You need to be in the Guild. I'm going to keep keep promoting the Guild because I believe in this community. Are you contributing to your community or are you simply consuming from it? That's a key question though. Are you going to be somebody who is part of it, who's pushing solution, or are you going to be somebody who keeps taking? And there's nothing wrong with taking if it strengthens you to give, but be a giver. Be somebody who wants to see the betterment of everyone around you. So in closing, because I've spoken for long and actually, smack bang on 7:30. In closing, no great leader succeeds alone. You know, our mind in the Guild is leadership. Leadership, leadership, leadership. We're raising the next generation of healthcare leaders. So no great leader succeeds alone. I cannot succeed alone. I come here every week to meet more and more and more of you because I want to work with you. I want to hold hands with you to make sure that our industry, our profession is as enhanced as possible, that we are finding or we're discovering new innovations in healthcare. We are bettering more and more people's lives. And no great movement was built alone. So again, I invite you to join the Guild. Join us. You can go on our page and join us. It's www.theguildcommunity.co.uk. That's www.theguildcommunity.co.uk. We are also on Instagram. Feel free, send us a DM. I'm always open to sending you a DM. Let me even put it in the group, in the chat, just so you can just click on it. I want you to join us. I want you to hold hands with us so that we can work for the betterment of, of this work. And please do subscribe so again to have a conversation with you. Next week, I'm going to try and drag a guest because again, I don't believe I should be doing this work alone. There's so many brilliant-minded people who will bring so much value to this platform. So thank you again for joining. I'm always so grateful to have you online, speaking with me, sharing this same passion with me. And I will see you all again next week, this time. So have an absolutely amazing evening and the rest of the week, and I'll see you later. Thank you.